everybody, welcome to another episode of Proficient Fans. My name is CB, and with me is...
Deleted all the notes, Clay Haggard.
That's all right, I still have
Luckily, they're not deleted, but I just got to pull them back up. I couldn't believe I did. I was like, are you ready? I was like, yup. And I'm like, why did I just do that? Why did I just get rid of every note we had on screen?
Yeah,
Let me get comfy.
What was going on with your week, man? Anything big? Anything...
Not that I can think of off the top. I felt like work dragged this week, though, man. I don't know about you, but, like, every work day I got into, I was like, been a long day. Check the clock. It's like 12. I'm like, what? Yeah. Half a day still. So Friday was the only day that was like, zoop, that went by quick for me. Every other day just dragged. They're not bad days. Yeah. They just felt like they dragged. However, I feel like this weekend has dragged as well. So I'll take a long week for a long weekend.
I don't know if it felt long or anything. I know that I was definitely looking forward to Friday because that's typically the days I have off. And
yeah.
I realized what I was more excited about was CB had his first fight.
Okay. Fight? Not wrestling match. Fight.
Nah, man, I call them fights.
Okay.
And there was a tournament where unfortunately, we took second place, but it went down to the tiebreaker of how many takedowns each team had. So.
Oh, okay.
And we lost by 1.
Bummer.
Yeah, but it was cool.
Let me get comfortable. Don't worry, we're good on the frame. I'm just trying to find that comfy spot.
First time he gets up there, Void. So, starts out 1-0.
Yeah. There you go.
Then second one, this kid, I'm watching him, and he's just sitting there. Then they're like, CB, you're up. He goes, oh. Now all these other kids standing up, getting warmed up. And no, on this one he actually was standing up. And then he goes in, and he was going against my old school, where I went to school in Union City. And I told him that he was going to fight these kids, and he goes, oh, man, these are farm kids. He knows about farm strength, yeah. So, he's like, all right, cool. And first match ever, he got pinned in the second round. So I was like, all right, you didn't get pinned in the first round.
It's true.
Good. And then second fight, who was that against? Springport. And he pinned the kid within 30 seconds.
Okay. Nice.
And then
30 seconds. That's awesome.
That was pretty cool.
What kind of moves? Did he go takedown? Did he throw?
First, he Stone Cold Steve he stunned him. No. I don't know, man. Like he
did he shoot for the legs and take him down?
No, he essentially just bent the kid over.
Okay.
They locked up.
Yep.
He got him down.
You saying like straight like bear hugged, took him over, or did he grab him and flip him over the hip?
Yeah, something like that.
Threw him. Yeah, throw.
And on his last match, he got pinned towards the end of the thing. So
hey, 1-2 for the first time ever wrestling.
Yeah, I mean, never competitively done it.
Technically 2-2.
Yeah, technically
2-2.
People work like, so how do you do? I'm like, well, it depends on how you want to.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, his record is 2-2, but he's wrestled 3 times.
So
that's what's
up. It's funny when I saw him after the first match. I was talking to him. He goes, I got a better feeling about the next one. I'm like, okay. So
he's motivated. Yeah. Losing sucks.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of fun in being on your back and hearing the ref slam that mat and blow his whistle.
Yeah.
Everyone's watching. You're like, yeah, just got manhandled. Just minding my own business.
Yeah,
so
it was a lot of fun.
Definitely motivating.
It was a lot of fun. So he's got another meet on Tuesday. So hopefully he's ready for that. So
nice.
That was a lot of fun. And
it's awesome.
Not knowing what was going on was a little frustrating, because like
I know enough about wrestling, so if you need a breakdown, maybe after the show.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Like I'm sitting there and I was just like, I mean, I was keeping track of how many dubs we got, Just like, okay, cool. All right, we beat them.
Yep.
All right, cool. So yeah, I mean, as a team, collectively, did pretty good. Our heavy the last match, this kid was outweighed by a lot.
Yeah.
And
CB was outweighed?
No. Our heavyweight.
Okay.
Well, I don't even know if he's technically a heavyweight.
So your heavyweight wrestled a much bigger heavyweight.
And I'll tell you what, though, ours was kicking his ass.
That's awesome.
And then one move ended up with him on his back.
Yep.
And
that's a lot of weight.
And the coach goes afterwards. We were talking and shit. And I was telling the kid because he was going through it because he realized that like him winning was gonna win the tournament.
Oh yeah.
And
he knew that before he got on the mat.
I'm sure he did.
Oof. Okay.
And because the other kid definitely knew because he was hype as fuck when he pinned him.
Yeah.
But I was like, hey man, I was just like, you put up a fight, like one move. And then and the coach is like, when you get that much meat on top of you,
yeah,
he goes, it's hard for anybody, and he's just like, you shouldn't feel down. So really cool experience. I'm looking forward to more experiences of this, and C's like all about it. So told him that Michigan State was wrestling Wisconsin or Minnesota. Minnesota today.
Today. Okay.
Yeah.
Say they just wrestled Michigan.
Yeah. So and I think it's supposed to be on the Big Ten Network, so I think he's going to watch that.
Very cool. That's how I became a Michigan State fan, man. Elementary school basketball. Coach said, go home, watch the Michigan State Duke game. Told my dad, I got to watch Michigan State basketball. Okay. Click that shit right on. I've never seen my dad more excited to help me with my homework.
He's like, finally, no more Moesha. Nothing against Moesha.
Yeah. So... that's awesome, man.
Yeah, so a lot of fun doing that, and then
very cool.
Happy
birthday to my dad, by the way.
Yes,
it's my dad's birthday today. Hopefully, Skylar Thompson can bring my dad a dub. Let's go, Fins!
Happy birthday to my sister, whose birthday was yesterday. I
did go to X Golf yesterday. It's the only thing I'll touch on for my week, but man, it felt good to swing golf clubs again.
Yeah.
Because I haven't swung since late August when I, hurt my back.
Certainly.
Went to the chiro, obviously, went through 3 months of chiropractic assistance. Got me feeling right again, so that's all good. But I really hadn't committed. I did some Top Golf in Nashville for Nick's wedding.
Yeah.
And it was okay, but I didn't really let it loose. You know what I mean? I was like, I don't want to hurt myself if I'm not home.
Certainly.
Because that would, oh goodness, that would have been a terrible vacation.
And you had to fly back.
Dude. So.
But you flew out of it, right?
Yeah. So, but yeah, that was awesome to be able to go there, get loose, not feel any kind of, because I feel like, when athletes get hurt, but when an athlete gets hurt, you always have that conversation when they come back, are they going to trust their surgery?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you tear an ACL, you hurt something in your shoulder or elbow and you're playing baseball. Like when you come back, are you conscious about it? Can you not do what you used to do because you're hesitant to make those big cuts or throw extremely hard? So that was just really nice.
Have you thought about maybe taking ibuprofen or anything like that before you actually swing?
Son, I keep them in the bag.
I mean, but you take them before you start playing.
Normally, if I'm out golfing a round of 18, I'll usually pop 2 in the morning, right before my round, or a couple holes in, and I'm like, yep.
That's what I do because of the fact of the soreness of.
Yeah.
Because I don't. I mean, it's different. It's funny because there's golf shape. You know what I'm saying? So if you play frequently enough, you're not gonna feel. Your body's not going to feel awful.
It's normal, I feel like, for someone to go out golfing who does it once every other month. They'll feel tightness in their back because, you're leaning over, you're twisting, and it's just if you're not used to those motions. I mean, anything you do that you're not used to, you're going to feel different muscles firing. So
I also remember, 18 through 21, easily playing, 4 times a week and never felt a thing. Yeah. And I was like... Those were the glory days.
Yeah, I don't always take the ibuprofen, but I would say half the time I'll usually take them.
So
preventative measure. I may not even need them half the time, but my assumption is if I finish a round, I get home and I'm feeling tip top, I just assume that helped.
Well, I was gonna say
probably wrong.
That's the reason why people take Advil or something like that when they're drunk. Because before they go to bed.
Oh, I'm a pro at making sure I don't wake up hungover.
Yeah, me too. I just don't drink
I take all preventative measures. That too. Yeah, I really haven't. I mean, other than the wedding, I can't. Usually, it's those social get-togethers is when I allow myself to say, you know what? If I ain't driving tonight, this is the situation or environment I would rather drink the extra drink in comparison to going to the bar tonight, for example.
Yeah, no.
I usually don't go out and just get hammered. Those were the good old college days. I had my fun.
Yeah, I always think about work. I'm like, oh,
yeah, no,
shit.
same, yeah.
Like the work and the fact that, like, last time I was really hungover, I just remember just laying there going, if somebody breaks into my home, I'm so weak, I don't know if I can defend my family.
Someone breaks in, you're on the couch. No! Stop it!
Yeah, I was just like, you know what? Like, this
is it, guys.
I'm like, nah, this is.
Just take me now.
Like, and that's the reason why I hate being sick too. You know what I mean? Like, I hate
no one
that feeling.
Being sick, yeah.
Of, being able to protect my household. So,
yep. All right, 10 minutes.
I was gonna say
no one cares about how dehydrated we get when we drink.
I know, right? If you're a Georgia fan, you're probably hammered. Still. That was a boring fucking game.
That was an extremely boring game.
So Monday night we had the national championship game.
Unless you're a Bulldog, it was pretty fun.
What's that?
Unless you're a Bulldog, it was pretty fun.
Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, it started fine. Pretty sure Georgia scored. I'm pretty sure Georgia kicked the field goal, and then TCU came back. Max Duggan ran one in. Pretty sure it was 10-7 or maybe 7-7.
That was like the only flaw that Georgia had that entire game was
letting in one touchdown.
Well, not that part. The pass that got him to the position to be able to run that touchdown in. That guy was nobody was near that kid, and I could have thrown that pass.
Yeah, you could have.
That wasn't. I mean,
yeah, you could have.
He didn't. He was not pressured. He sat there in the pocket, and he fucking launched it.
Yeah.
If I can throw that far, then
yeah,
I could.
That was my thought. Is like, could we even chuck the pigskin that far?
You know what? I have a
unless I don't remember the play correctly. I remember it being a pretty big bomb.
It was. It might have. It's still what I'm getting at.
We would have.
It was way open.
We probably would have overthrown him.
Yeah. Well, it's not even about the amount of throw. It was the fact that it was just wide open.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there's nobody around him for 30 yards, and so I mean that was the highlight for TCU.
Mm-hmm.
Not even so much the touchdown. The fact that was just a big play.
Yeah.
I was in the group chat. We were doing more talking about the Detroit Lions and possibilities than anything about that game.
Mm-hmm.
Halftime, I got to a point and I was like, all right, guys, I'm signing off. I'm just going to watch Yellowstone now.
Yeah.
I had no inkling. I didn't care.
Mm-hmm. I think I stopped watching in the second half as well. Like, I had it on, but I might have jumped on my Xbox or something because I was just like,
not even worth it.
Dude, I'm just going to sit here casually play during commercials, watch this game a little bit. And
I realized that I watched the national championship game on New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that was a real game of football.
Yeah.
And I had Michigan fans, and I was just like, look, they just like, Michigan probably done better than that. I'm like, yeah, you're right. They would have. They would have at least kicked an extra field goal.
Yeah.
I was like, they would have put up 10 points against Georgia. I said nobody. What happened was exactly what I knew was going to happen. Because I said Georgia was that fucking good. Like, I knew that they were that good. And there was not a team that was in the playoffs that I thought could beat Georgia.
Yeah, I don't feel like our narrative changed. I even said, I was just like, people are forgetting who Georgia is. I go, Ohio State played the best game they possibly could have against Georgia Bulldogs.
Yep.
And I was like, besides that effort, I go, that's probably the most points you're going to see that Georgia defense give up.
So, I mean, it was 65-7. And
dude,
the stats are, you don't even need to worry about the stats.
Stetson Bennett got sat halfway through the third.
Yeah.
He almost didn't play the entire second half of a national championship. That's substantial. That's not, we sat him for the last 10 minutes. My dude took a shower, came back fully, like, not really, but my point being is he was out for a substantial, he didn't play football for over an hour probably.
So I found
TV time.
I found it funny. And the fact that, like, I was just, because, I was just like, I so many people I spoke to was like, yeah, I wasn't going to waste my time with that. And I was curious, so I looked up the viewership. It started out at 8 p.m., 20.33 million people watched. I'm going to go ahead in time a little bit here to 8:30. That's when everybody really realized the game was on, because I'm sure most people like myself thought the game wasn't going to start until 8:30.
Yeah.
Everybody tuned in, and you're like, oh, shit. TCU scored. People started watching a little bit more, because then it started to go off, from 8:45. So at 8:30, it was 22.36 mil. Then 8:45, 22.1. Then we go, it just consistently goes down. 9:20, 9:15, 16, 9:30, 15, 9:45, 16. So it went up a little bit, but that's probably about halftime, and everybody's like, oh, let me go check out this game.
Yeah.
Then it dropped to 14, 13, 11, 10:45, 10.3.
Why are more people watching in the second half when the blowout's already happening than in the second quarter?
No, it actually went way down.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I heard you say 9-point-something million at one point, right before halftime.
Before halftime, which we said was probably about 9:30.
I probably misheard you.
Or 9:45 when it came back on.
You
was
probably
16,
you probably said the time, and I thought it was.
Yeah. I mean, it just completely, consistently dwindled and dwindled and dwindled.
Yeah,
and
I see now.
I was just like, I couldn't believe. I mean, like, to me, it just made sense. And I know that's got to hurt the NCAA's feelings a little bit about the product that they're putting on the field.
Yeah.
Like, when they go and look at the brackets next year, I feel like to me, I was, yes, I would have loved to have seen a Ohio State, Michigan thing, but that's selfishness of, I'm in the area, the hype that would bring. I also am a big believer in, since that's one of the oldest and biggest rivalries in all of sports, that would have been great TV on the primetime level like that. But they're gonna have to take a serious look on how they could really create the best all around scenario for the national championship. Because to see a game like this,
well, I think it's is it 2024 is the 12-team playoff?
When we have the playoffs, I think that's going to definitely help us out a lot. Yeah.
See, I think another good thing too is having an extended playoff, at least in this situation. Is if there is one game that's a complete blowout like this, hopefully there's so many other games that it kind of
washes it.
Oh, yeah, it kind of washes it a little bit, overshadows it, and hopefully you just get more great football.
Right.
So when you have one game that's lopsided, you're not like, well, there goes that whole playoff compared to...
I know that originally when we were talking about extending the playoffs, I was against it. I was like, no, this isn't even figured out right. But after this year... And when they announced it and I kind of saw how they were going to do it, I'm like, you know what? I actually kind of like this. And especially after this year, I'm definitely looking more forward to this as an opportunity for better teams to step up. Because this was, it was a waste of time. Like, I get it, Georgia fans stuck around. I mean, I would too if I was a Georgia fan. But, and I also heard Kirby Smart's fucking... pre-game speech, and kind of made sense. That's the reason why they came out there and just fucking destroyed those guys. I thought it was hilarious. I work with a Georgia guy, and I was like, "Did you hear Kirby's speech last night?" He goes, "No." I showed it to him. He goes, "Send me that right now." And I sent it to him, and he immediately was forwarding it over to his Georgia buddies.
That's funny.
And there were some funny memes and stuff that came out about that. The 911 call. 911, what's your emergency? We fucked up.
I like the one, if you've seen that one girl, her face is bloody and battered. She was a bare knuckle fighter, and in her post game, she goes, "Yeah, I had a lot of fun out there, and really gave it my all." And dude, she's beat up, and it just showed like TCU on that. Yeah, I had a lot of fun out there, and they went out there and just did my best, and we'll come back and see how we do in the next fight. And I'm just like. There were a lot of good. The Donkey Kong and Super Mario one.
I don't know that one.
Dude, it's in the new Super Mario trailer. Mario has, TCU logo and Donkey Kong has a Georgia logo. And Mario, like, it's a real, like, cinematic part in the trailer. And he's getting all hyped up. And he starts running at Donkey Kong and they're going to fight. He jumps at Donkey Kong. He's going to hit him. Donkey Kong grabs him, throws him into the ground, and just beats the shit out of Mario.
Oh, my gosh.
That shit was funny.
Oh, there's not much to
congrats
talk about.
To the Bulldogs.
Congrats. I mean, I know they just had their parade, so,
My elementary school buddy, Drew Wilson, is one of the trainers for Georgia Bulldogs. It has been for years.
Yeah.
So he's got 2 rings.
That's pretty sick.
Right? Back to back.
Oh, no.
It's cool watching his stories, though, dude. Him being on the team bus, like, coming back, seeing the parade. Like, it's cool to have an insider point of view for like those celebrations, experiences. I mean, he's not too heavy on the social media, but the little glimpses that you do get, I do think it's cool.
Dope.
He was like, Roquan Smith got his bag from Baltimore, and he's sharing it because he's friends with Roquan. Like, you know what I mean?
That's cool.
So yeah, it's just little cool things like that are like, oh man, like what a cool job, cool experience to have connections with all these players.
Yeah.
See them go on, do big things. Like, that's pretty neat. So like, by no means am I a Bulldogs fan, but at least there's a slight side benefit to see one of my friends, achieve success and happiness off of a Georgia win. So
the guy at work, he sat there. I was like, I've stopped at half. He goes, I thought about you last night. I knew you did. Because I told him, I was just like, man, you guys are going to walk through. This is not going to be fun to watch unless you're a fan of them. So,
yep. Congrats, Stetson Bennett. 25-year-old back-to-back national champion. We can move on. I'm just.
Oh, I was.
No, we can move on.
We had a good breaking point, so I was like, and then you.
It don't matter how we break.
As I was getting ready to hit stop, you say, "Congrats!" I'm like, oh, hold up.
No, just.
Yeah, no, congratulations.
I mean, dude, 25 years old, you're still in college. River. First of all, yeah.
Oh. So I heard we're not supposed to call it Black Friday anymore. Is that right? Or Black Monday? Excuse me.
I don't even know what Black Monday is.
It's the day after the season when everybody gets fired.
Oh, okay. Didn't know it was called Black Monday. Hadn't heard that term.
Yeah. Now, some of these, I put together a little list of, I'm going the opposite direction of what I said, but.
That's fine.
I'll tell you.
That's fine because we can jump into it after we talk about
that's fine.
Everything. Yeah, it still flows. We got some firings that happened last week and kind of earlier in the season as well. Right.
I mean, we know Frank Wright was fired this year, middle of the season. Was it middle of the season? Because was it about week 10 or something like that?
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Where he had 4 seasons there, had a record of 40, 33, and 1, and he's 1-2 in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. Right around that time actually does sound about right, dude. Yeah. Right around there.
Now, Matt Rule got fired early.
Yeah.
But fired week 5.
So, sorry, Frank Wright was with the Colts, just for everyone else.
Yes, sorry.
Frank Wright was with the Indianapolis Colts, and then CB brought up Matt Rule, who was with the Carolina Panthers.
Yep, who he had 2+ seasons with them, record of 11-27, 0 playoff appearances.
Yeah, he just couldn't translate that college coaching success into the NFL. Not to say he couldn't have been successful, it just didn't come over immediately. That's all.
Yeah, I was going to say immediately.
Yep.
Last year McCaffrey didn't play.
Yep. Exactly. Yeah. Cards were stacked.
Yeah, I mean, it just wasn't a good situation.
Unfortunately, the NFL they don't care about that stuff, and it's an immediate success.
Even if you don't have the tools.
Yep.
Even if you don't have the tools. Nathaniel Hackett from the Denver Broncos, he had less than 1 season.
Yep.
Record of 4-11 with 0 playoff appearances.
Yeah. You bring in Russell Wilson, you are expected to win. They also had a lot of trouble staying healthy offensively and defensively.
I was going to say.
However, when you have that kind of talent, man, you got to find a way to win more than 4 games. But they did beat San Francisco. Fun fact. Which is pretty wild if you think about it.
Wasn't that... that was before Big Cock Brock.
Big Cock Brock, dude. What a nickname.
And then actually on Monday, Cliff Kingsbury Arizona Cardinals.
Yep.
Coach got fired.
That was the big one for me.
That was huge.
That was crazy. Which actually, let's go into the last coach, and I want to come back to Cliff. If that's cool.
Lovie Smith got fired after one season.
Yeah.
Record of 3-13-1, and I believe he only got fired because he won that last game. Mm-hmm. You know,
I do as well.
You know, it was like, wow.
The Texans had the number 1 draft pick going into next year, and then they throw Hail Mary upset win last second in their last game of the season. And because I think they were playing the Colts actually.
Yep.
And because of that win, they ended up giving Chicago the first pick of the draft. And then Lovie Smith said, I absolutely expect to be coming back next year. And then literally the next day fired.
Yeah, I think that's wild to me.
Yeah.
You know, I have of course a problem with that just because I like Lovie Smith. I like him as a coach. Even though he was a Bears coach and beat up on my Lions for a few years there. And he beat up on my Spartans when he was with Illinois, and I think that he brings any program, a good way to go.
Yeah, I will say if I'm looking at it just from the other side with Lovie Smith, because I'm a Lovie Smith fan too. I feel like no matter where he goes, collegiate or professional, I feel like the team's always behind him. I feel like he does a good job of getting everyone on the same page. Yeah. So I think there's a lot of pluses and bonuses when it comes to Lovie Smith. But I will say, man, it's not like he has a long tenure of success and winning huge games. He doesn't go deep into playoffs. He doesn't win conference championships.
Went to the Super Bowl.
No. I understand that. But I'm saying he's also been coaching for 25, 30 years, if I'm not mistaken. He's been in the – maybe I could be a little high on that. But, dude, he's been in the game for a long time.
Oh, he's definitely been in –
So, and once again, I'm not – that's why I said I preface this with looking at it from the other side as to reasons maybe why not to keep Lovie Smith. Even though I'm a fan of him he's not guaranteed to bring you championships.
Yeah, I mean,
but he has had his stints.
He was head coach of the Bears, head coach of the Buccaneers for a year, Illinois for 4 years, and then Texans this year. So I mean,
damn, that's it.
Year.
That's also his head coaching, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
Man, I feel like
So
I feel like that man's been in the game forever.
Well, he has, because he was like linebackers coach for the Rams before he was the Bears, linebackers coach for the Buccaneers. So, I mean, he was Ohio State defensive backs coach. So, I mean, he's
tenured for sure.
Yeah.
Regardless of level.
I mean, you look at the situations, I mean, besides the Bears, that was actually a team actually put together, you know?
Yeah. That was a very good Bears team.
Yeah. Now, maybe he's not a good college guy, you know what I'm saying? Because the fact that recruiting to Illinois is already going to be hard.
Yeah.
They're not known as a perennial football program. So recruiting, getting top-notch players to come in and actually be able to put out a good product onto the field is going to be difficult.
Yep.
However, once again, it's all about results, and we all understand that. It's just 1 year for a terrible football team, and you have nothing to, as I'm looking at the organization, if you try to give me any other reason other than you fired him because he won that last game, and
it had to have been that last game, dude.
Tell me that 100%. Just say, yep. And then what you're doing is you're admitting that you wanted to throw games.
Yep.
And I would much rather hear that and know that was your agenda.
Which of course they can't. The Texans
can't
admit.
No, they cannot admit.
Stephen Ross.
But that's what I'm getting at is you were saying it without saying it by getting rid of somebody like Lovie Smith, because you didn't even let him try to build together a program.
The crazy thing is, dude, at least let's say the second half of that season, tail end, they were competitive. Yeah. Dude, there were a lot of good team Cowboys. Mm-hmm. There were a lot of, and granted, I think the Cowboys are slightly overrated personally in how the nation sees that team. But they were competitive, and I really think that Lovie Smith should have continued to see what he could have done with that organization. But
give him a first round draft.
Hey, you know what? If Houston doesn't want him, they don't deserve him. I think Lovie Smith finds another landing spot, And I think Lovie Smith is going to be able to contribute to whatever organization he does go to.
I hope he gets to a better landing spot than Houston. I mean, like
Shit.
that was he took over a garbage fire.
Yeah.
And did the best he could.
Yeah, it sounds like he's more of a defensive coach.
Yeah.
Because I was going to say, which we're probably going to go into, with some of these coordinators looking for head coaching jobs, which we'll get there in a second. Who knows?
I mean,
Maybe,
but it also depends on what he wants. You know?
No.
Yeah.
I understand. I understand. I'm just saying, I know a lot of teams out there, if Lovey doesn't find that head coaching spot, they're going to get a hell of a DC or something like that out of him. And see, every now and then you'll see a head coach where they take, let's quote unquote, this demotion and they end up becoming a coordinator. I see a lot of success from teams like that when you get someone smart enough to be a head coach, come in to be a coordinator for a team. More smart minds in a room, the better. I know they always say, like, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Shit, man. It's all about winning championships. Get everybody in there with the smartest minds and work your magic.
Then going back up to Cliff Kingsbury, which I'm not exactly sure what to think about that, just because you do expect that when you have we said it when they put this team together, a high octane offense.
Only got better.
Yeah,
they only got better in the offseason as far as on paper with their personnel. Right. But Cliff Kingsbury finishes his tenure in Arizona 28, 37, and 1. So I would say with the likes of Kyler, DeAndre Hopkins, been there for multiple. Granted, he's battled injuries.
Well, he was out the first 6 weeks of the year,
but has performed. And you got J.J. Watt there, you got Chandler Jones out there, you got Budda Baker out there. Then you bring in Hollywood Brown into the scene. You still got Rondell Moore. Shit for you, Zach Ertz they brought on this year. And there's probably a ton of other Cardinals studs that I'm missing. But to bring all that in and still be subpar is concerning. The Cardinals had a bad season, dude. Like, did they even win more than 6 games, 7 games? I don't remember their overall off the top of my head. CB's going to look it up. But man, like, I'm surprised just because everyone seemed to really like Cliff Kingsbury. But ownership and the front office obviously saw that he was delivering subpar results with having all that talent on his roster.
Let's see here. Is it going to tell me?
I mean, shit, dude. I mean, the ownership was clearly confident in Cliff. Just this offseason, they signed him to a 5-year deal all the way...
4-3 was the Cardinals' record this year.
What?
4-3 or 4-13, excuse me.
Oh, okay, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So they signed him to a 5-year deal. He spent 4 seasons in Arizona already. They said, we want you for the long haul. We're going to sign you through 2027. Fully guaranteed contract. That's how confident ownership was in him. And then first year, this year, to go out there and lay an egg and only put up 4 wins, they were like, nope, got to go. We don't know. I mean, Kyler was hurt for a lot of it. D-Hop was suspended for 6 games. So, like, I think it's you can't really make excuses at that level. It is a business, and you're still expected to find a way to win. However, I'm just shocked that they let him go after this one season because the talent's all still there.
Minus JJ, he just retired.
Correct, yep. Minus JJ, who's retiring.
And now there's talks of them looking to trade Hopkins. So, there's that conversation out there as well. So maybe they're just like, all right, we're going to refresh. Which is crazy to think that you're going to refresh when you have that team put together.
I don't even feel like it's a refresh. I feel like it's a cap space clear out.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only thing I can think of because, like, you have too many good players to still refresh right at this point.
And if I read this article correctly about the way that management team has been doing anyways, they're known for paying people longer than their contracts. Like, they fired the last coach that was there and had to pay him for a few years after his contract was up.
Yeah, Cliff Kingsbury is going to be making $20 million over the next 4 seasons, even though he's not the coach.
Yeah.
because their owner gave him a fully guaranteed. So every 2 weeks, Cliff Kingsbury is going to be chilling in Thailand. He bought a one-way ticket to Thailand. That's where he's at as we speak.
Living like a god.
His checks are still coming in bi-weekly.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, what I will say is shout out to Cliff for doing whatever he feels he needs to do to clear his mental right now.
Yeah.
One-way ticket to Thailand, turned his phone off. Or is at least ignoring the NFL, because multiple organizations have already stated that they've reached out to Cliff for coaching vacancies. Like, yo, we want you.
Yeah.
And he is not entertaining the likes of any of these calls. I'm sure a lot of people are like, oh, he's crazy. Why doesn't he want to find the next job? Dude, the man's worked his butt off to coach an NFL team, which is, that's like a
what is he, like
22-hour a day work. Or job.
Isn't he like 43?
He's pretty young. Yeah, he's pretty young.
And to know that you spent from 18 till 40-something working like nobody else works, been at essentially the pinnacle of what you can do in this business, not being a player or, an owner, a front office guy. I think it's impeccable, and I think he does deserve that time off to really do what he wants to do and just, think about, do I even want to head coach anymore? Maybe he wants to move into the front office of some organization.
Yeah.
Where he can have more control of what's happening. Yeah. Who knows? I was shocked though. I was like, really?
Yeah.
After this, I get it. Like, that was a shit year, but I mean, when your starting quarterback isn't on the field,
let alone, mind you, Kyler was not being the most grown-up professional this season. A lot of complaining coming out of him this season.
And it all stems from the front office, not the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Like, now you're expecting the coaches to massage the bad relationships that you, as the ownership and front office, have created with the star player.
Yep. Boy, I could think we were talking about Cleveland.
Yuck.
Deshaun Watson.
So...
It's a full-blown intermission.
I know, right? Jesus.
So
that wasn't meant to happen.
I know we were just talking Cliff Kingsbury, coaches getting fired, all that kind of stuff. But one thing that I had really thought about, and I think some of this started getting discussed in our sports ball chat, but I don't feel like, excuse me, I don't feel like I really got my big questions really in. Because I had my own opinions and I didn't really engage too much at that given time because it turned into a full-blown Lions chat at that point. But you have the likes of all these coordinators that are, interviewing for these head coaching jobs.
Yeah.
And I guess my general question, which of course I'm going to push your way, for these aspiring assistant coaches or positional coaches that are looking for this dream head coaching job, do you think that taking these openings, such as more specifically like the Texans or the Bears, for example, even though I think the Bears are kind of set there, is it good for these like coaches who are aspiring to be a head coach? Is it good for them to go to organizations that are not successful right now and try and jump into that role and rebuild the organization right off the rip? Or should these like coordinators such as Ben Johnson, your offensive coordinator with the Lions, would it make more sense for them to stay home, continue to grow and build and maybe do big things the next year, and then potentially find that dream head coaching job in a better situation maybe a year or two from now?
So I think there's definitely two different camps that that question goes for. If you're on a struggling team and people are still looking to talk to you, then I think you take that job, right? Now, somebody, and Ben Johnson, I know Aaron Glenn's been talked to as well, on a team that is on the uprise, I think that going all the way back down to square one is a bad career move. I think that right now, if you stay, and this is definitely going to seem selfish, right? But I'm really trying to think of this as a professional level of things, is if I go to the playoffs next year and we win a few games in that playoffs, now I've become more of a desirable coach for an actual desirable team, a team that's not at the very bottom starting all over.
Exactly.
I don't think that. I think these rebuilds, unless I think Dan Campbell's an anomaly. I think Aaron Glenn is an anomaly, right? I don't think that you're normally going to find that because you don't normally find a complete rebuilt organization where you're starting with a brand new GM and a brand new head coach.
Right.
Typically, you're starting with the same GM that's fucked you before, or you're fired the GM, but the GM just comes in and keeps the coach.
Right.
So I think that the whole Detroit Lions situation is just not a common thing. So therefore, it looks like they maybe just created a blueprint of how, if you're an owner, of how you're going to start maneuvering things. I don't know, but I don't think that the Texans' job. There's just so many years of just bad decisions there, not desirable at all.
Yeah,
I think that place is more for a veteran that's just been a coach for a couple different organizations, like Lovie Smith was. And then, maybe be able to, rebuild and see if they can do something great like that. I don't think that if I'm a young, aspiring head coach that I want to go to the shit show of uncertainty that they have there.
Yeah.
The Carolina Panthers, that one's a tough one because you're just like, I would think that you would, if I'm the Panthers, I would think that they'd want more of a established coach there instead of... because I mean they're not a young team.
Yeah,
they're like I feel like they're a middle-aged football team.
Yeah,
and I don't think that getting a young coach in there is going to be the move either. Ben himself, you could fall on your face real quick. You could end up being Matt Patricia. So, and now Matt Patricia won Super Bowls, but I mean,
not as a head coach.
Not as a head, definitely
under
not.
one of the greatest head coaches of all time.
Yeah,
if not the greatest head coach of all time.
I get it. Wanting to be a head coach and all that stuff, I do get it. But I think that I don't know, pocketbook, legacy, two different options here. But I think that your legacy stands a better chance staying in the offensive corner for 1 to 2 more years, especially if you continue to build the Detroit Lions the way that you guys have.
Yeah,
I mean. Once again, no, I'm showing favoritism, but that is a strong offense that any team in the league would want to have.
Yeah.
We have 2 possible franchise receivers. I only say possible because we honestly haven't even seen what J-Mo could do yet.
Nope.
We have Jamal. We have DeAndre Swift, which, once again, not 100% sure if what the plan is there. I just think that you just stand a better opportunity to get your dream job sticking around.
Yeah, and it's all situational. It's all circumstantial.
Maybe the Broncos might be a good choice for him because, I mean, you did mention Russell Wilson, but I mean, like, you got to have something like that.
But the Broncos, I mean, John Elway, they're going to want the likes of someone like Sean Payton coming out of retirement.
I get it.
But nonetheless, I mean, back to as far as taking these jobs, I agree with you because I don't think there's one way to look at it. It's not you always take the position or you always should wait for a better one. There's a lot of intangibles, and it's funny because I asked the question, but it's more of a discussion topic. It's not really a right or wrong answer because it's circumstantial. Do you want to move your family to that location? How long or how well do you get along with the GM? Are the owners and GMs future goals on par with what you're looking for? Maybe their goal is we need to win a Super Bowl. Maybe yours is let's win the division first. How about that?
Right.
I understand there's baby steps to success, but, so it's very circumstantial. So one thing that I've always been in support of, if we take success out of the picture, and by success, I'm referring to the wins and losses you incur your first season as a head coach, for example, of the Texans, right? An organization who really hasn't shown a lot of promise since Deshaun Watson took off, has shown some fight, but not a lot of W's to kind of back it up. If you're in a position where you're a coordinator, you've been in the league for multiple years, you're not some young 38 hotshot 38-year-old hotshot. You've been in the league, man. You've seen it. You've been on successful teams. You just were maybe a linebackers coach. Maybe you weren't an OC or a DC or, and you feel like, you've been waiting for your opportunity for that dream job, and the Texans come knocking. Dude, if that's what you want and that's what you want to challenge yourself with, take it. Because there is no guarantee you're going to get another opportunity. Now, that does not mean you always take it. But I'm talking about the individuals to say, I'm in this league to be a head coach. That is my dream. That is my goal. And that is what I want to do. And you get the opportunity. Why? Well, you'd be a fool not to take it. And then there's situations where it's, I just want to be successful. I want to win a Super Bowl. And I don't care how I get it. Those situations, hold off. Like if we talk about Ben Johnson specifically, this season, your Lions are ahead of schedule. Just like my Dolphins were last year. We talked about how Miami, holy shit, they're ahead of schedule. And that's a great problem to be in. And so, Ben Johnson has a tough decision. If I'm not mistaken, he's not that old. He's a younger coach.
Yeah, he's a younger guy, too.
And with him being a younger coach, if his dreams and aspirations are to become a head coach, by all means, he may be taken off. I think the only reason it's a hard conversation to have is because your Lions have so much expectation, in my opinion, going into next season. It's not hopefulness for Detroit now. You've shown success. You've shown you can win big games. Now you're turning the page into expectation. And I think that's why I came in this year as a Dolphins fan. What I tell you, I said anything under 10 wins is a failure of this year. We made the playoffs, but we only finished with 9 wins. I think that this season...
Same record as my Lions.
Correct. And I think this season, in my opinion, I think we fell short. I won't say failure because we had brand new head coach. We had brand new personnel come in. However, that only made our team better. So we still, I would say, had a subpar year. And we're a playoff team. But that's okay to have that mentality when you want to aspire to be great. If you want to win Super Bowls, you can't go 9-8. We made the playoffs. Hell of a year, guys. Right. We succeeded. No. Let's win the division. Let's get there. So I think it's all circumstantial. I think if my hope for you, once again, selfishly, I hope Ben Johnson sticks around. Because I think you guys got a hell of a lot to prove. I think making the playoffs should be in Ben Johnson's book. I think getting that experience, playing these top tier teams, play a couple more primetime games, start winning those primetime games, and then who knows? If the Texans want you, A, maybe you make more money. Yep. B, maybe more players want to come play for you now.
I was gonna say,
and I think you need, in my opinion, I think it's helpful that when you go into a head coaching job, if you have a reputation of success, if you have milestones or things that you can bring to the forefront and say, look at what I've accomplished during my coaching tenure. This is how I want to run the ship now. I think that's helpful in organizations and players wanting to play for you.
And I think that the fact that, going on these interviews, he may not want these jobs at all. Mm-hmm. You know why he's taking them? Practice,
yep.
Because here's the thing is the interview, every different position that you take in life within your working life, it's a different style of an interview. So, hey, let me go see how you interview head coaches.
Mm-hmm.
And, okay, I saw how it's done. So now you're kind of preemptively, now you're adjusting. That helps you become a better offensive coordinator because now you're starting to think about what these organizations are looking at for a head coach. So that way you can start thinking more of a head coach opposed to I'm an offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I think he comes back. I think Aaron Glenn comes back. I thought it was crazy that he was getting calls when, week 6, everybody was calling for his head. Mm-hmm. And then, he fires his defensive backs coach. And next thing you know, we put together a string of wins, mm-hmm. A strong defense. So, I'm very happy for both of them that they're getting these calls. But I honestly believe that they are both coming back. And it's not that they're getting turned down. Mm-hmm. They're just, okay, hey, let's go see what this is about.
Yep.
And everybody likes to feel like the pretty girl. So, hey, people want to talk to me. Yeah, let's go see. And the Lions did a very good job of allowing them to be spoken to.
Yeah.
Because that'd be really fucked up. No, you can't talk to them. But you got to come back to work and feel good.
For sure.
So
I just think there's more meat on the bone. for Detroit, especially after that fucking huge win Sunday Night Football in Lambeau Field, taking down Aaron Rodgers and the Packers, and not only taking them down, eliminating them from the playoffs.
I texted you right before the game, and I was just like, now that I know all my starters are playing, I want to beat these guys real bad.
You 180'd so quick. And you know what's funny, too, is like, even when we were recording, I'm like, he says that. Now, I didn't say it, but I'm like, he says that now, man. But once you put the pads on, it's a pride thing out there at that point. Yeah. And yeah, dude, like, an opportunity to just shut that Aaron Rodgers the hell up and kick him out of the playoffs. Just to watch the
it felt good.
Seahawks get destroyed by the Niners.
Yeah.
But we'll get into there later. But yeah, man, I mean, I know you got some Lions notes on here, and I would love to dive deeper into that game because I think it is almost like I guess the way I looked at that game is pretty much going to be the definition of what we're about to see in 2023 in Detroit.
Well, I mean, if you look at when we spoke about Aaron Glenn and the defense, right? Defense side of the ball, Aiden Hutchinson had 2 sacks on Aaron Rodgers that night. I'm sorry if he does not win Defensive Rookie of the Year, the system's flawed. He has more picks than Sauce Gardner, who's supposed to be the offensive or the defensive, juggernaut. Now, Trayvon Walker and Thibodeau, fantastic seasons. Mm-hmm. Like, I was telling a guy yesterday, I was just like, no matter what team you are, and you're not mad that you didn't take Thibodeau, or you're not mad that you didn't take Walker, and you're not mad that you didn't take Hutchinson. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're happy of each one of those 3, because those are the 3 main edge rushers out of last year's draft that were constantly being spoke of. I mean, like, last year was going to be like the first year where I sat there and I was like, edge rushers could take the top 3 fucking draft picks, because everybody wanted these guys, right? Yep. And all 3 of those guys played tremendously. Aiden Hutchinson, I think, just played even better. 17 pressures on quarterback throughout the season. 9 tackles, 9.5 sacks or something like that, 9 sacks. Phenomenal career. Yeah. He played outstanding. Our whole defense as a whole played really well against,
just about everybody.
Well, I was going to say against a Hall of Famer.
Yes.
When it really came against it. Now, not to take anything away from Christian Watson, hell of a catch, big catch.
Hell of an athlete, first of all.
He's a stud, man.
Yeah.
He played very well. But it was cool to know that, you don't run this house anymore.
Yeah.
And after watching that game, I am confident that we're going to win the division next year.
I was just getting ready to say, as good as Minnesota's playing, and I still think they're an excellent team. I don't see them winning 13 games next season.
No.
I think that's going to dwindle a little bit. And yes, I do believe Detroit could win the North next year. Yeah, I really do.
I don't
especially if Aaron is out of Green Bay.
After this year, I don't even care if he's in.
Yeah, well, depends on what they do.
Matt LaFleur has to change his offensive calling and just go with the 2-headed monster that he's got in the backfield, because he doesn't do that. Mm-hmm. They should easily have walked through this fucking division if they just handed the ball off to those 2 guys.
Yeah, their defense is what's their strongest part of their team, and their defense is what really wasn't getting it done at certain parts. Yes, their offense was super weak. But we've seen strong defenses carry teams to victories. So for the fact that, Green Bay got 8 wins, 8 and 9, was a little surprising, but surprising in a good way.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, so I mean, I definitely
shout out Kirby Joseph too. Picked Rodgers twice, almost 3 times if it wasn't for a penalty.
Yep.
So that's pretty dope.
Hell of a rookie class. Now we're, as Lions fans, because we're home, we're already talking about the draft. And I try not to too much, just because the fact that I'm just like, there's too many players out there right now I don't know enough about. Mm-hmm. My thought on who we should take is gonna change.
Yep.
Now I do believe that, and I also know we're gonna be able to do in free agency.
Mm-hmm. And thank you for saying that, because I think all Lions, and granted, when you're a hardcore football fan, you always get excited for the draft.
Right.
But I personally, my buddy at work who's always like, dude, draft, what do you think? What are your Dolphins going to do? I'm like, dude, this is all a relevant conversation.
Yeah.
We need to end this season. We need to figure out free agent, veteran, off-season moves. Mm-hmm. We need to figure out who's getting re-signed, who is your team letting go, because all of those decisions dictate the draft.
Everybody that's on our free agent list right now, the only person that I hold the utmost importance of re-signing is Jamal Williams.
Yep, and so that's what him and I did, is rather than talking draft, I said, if you want to talk free agents, I'm down. Because right now, that's the most important thing.
Yeah.
Who is off contract on your team? Who is available?
Yeah.
Those moves are literally, you don't go into the draft and say, well, we'll make moves after the draft to figure. No, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
A couple moves, maybe one or two.
There's a reason why free agency starts before the draft. It's because that way you can know what you need to draft.
March 15th.
Yeah.
March 15th is when the new season starts, and that, right now, they're already working on trades. Once I was talking to John Rosado about this, and we couldn't figure out what dictates when a team can start negotiation, but I did confirm that you can have talks and discussions with permission, and you can finalize trades. They just don't go through until the new season.
Right.
So right now, your Lions could already have a trade for DeAndre Swift to grab another pick and a backup running back, set in stone, agreed upon, signed.
Yeah.
Just got to wait to process it.
Yep.
And so, why I don't want to start discussing the draft when you're like, yo, for example, let's say you need a safety. You're like, we have to get a safety. You already fucking signed so-and-so from this team because he's a free agent.
Yeah.
So now it completely changes. I'm just glad you brought it up, dude, because my whole thing is it's okay to get excited for the draft. There's nothing wrong with doing mocks. It's just exciting to do. I just hate when people are like, well, why would you want to keep so-and-so instead of drafting this person? I'm like, God, we can't talk finites. This is all just for fun. We just got to keep it in the realm of fun.
Well, I sent
it's okay.
I don't know if you saw that link that I sent in Sports Ball, but it was about Braylon Edwards talking about Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah. Not a fan.
Well,
great player.
He single-handedly, damn near by himself, he almost on the defense side of the ball made that Seattle game worthwhile.
Mm-hmm. Oh no! Like I said, on the field, dude's a beast.
Well, that's all I care about.
No, you shouldn't. You're educated enough to know there's more to that.
What's he done outside the lines? That's been
what bothers
so bad.
What bothers me when it comes to Jalen Ramsey is his inability to admit when he has failed. I know that seems super silly, but I think there's a huge step of maturity to say I got outplayed today. And anytime a receiver torches his ass, oh, it's the ref's fault. Oh, he got away with push-offs. Oh, he got away with holds. Everything's an excuse with him. And I just don't see the Detroit. Personally, if we're just talking Detroit, I don't see Detroit as a group of people who points the finger and blames others. You guys are like.
I guess I haven't heard him say these things. So
it's any interview he does post game that's big.
Yeah,
if you pay attention, and that's what's turned me off of him. That's why I said, dude, on the field, he's an asset.
Yeah,
and who the fuck cares what I think. But I just feel as if I don't want someone to go into that environment and clash with anything that you're building. That's just my opinion.
Here's the thing.
So he could go there and flip his attitude.
Well, I was going to say that, or I also look at the fact that, he wouldn't be brought in unless Aaron Glenn definitely felt that he'd be an asset and that he wasn't going to disrupt what he's building. Now, I look at it just between the lines. I'm like, fuck. I know Ben was just like, oh, he didn't want to pay him the money. It wasn't even about anything about the attitude or anything like that. He's like, I don't want to pay him that kind of money.
Yeah.
And he's aging. I looked, I'm like, he's 28. Like,
that is actually the 28 as far as numbers go, other than I think kicker and quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, tends to be the number where athletes in the NFL do decline.
And I'm not expecting that we'd have to pay him a ton of money. But even if we did, you sign him for a few years, and you sign him until he's 32. Give him a 4-year contract, lock him in.
Yep.
The veteran leadership of a...
If he's a leader.
Yeah, well, I feel like for the Rams, he's been a leader.
I mean, on the field.
On the field.
But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
When you say it, I don't think you're talking about a leader on the field. I think you want a leader.
I want some.
Young guys.
I believe that the guys will look at the way he plays the ball and elevate their play. That's what I look at. That's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking of.
Sure.
Especially because I look at the team that we have when Hutchinson, Rodrigo, Okuda, when they're playing better on defense, everybody else elevates their games.
Yep.
So that's what I'm looking at.
Yep.
And Ben did follow back up. He's just like, when I was like, we have the money. Like, we're not hurting for money. Then I thought about it also, like, after I said that, I was like, well, maybe we're stacking up this bread because we are a young fucking team. And a lot of contracts are coming up at the exact same time. And so we have that money so we could just pay them all.
You got to make sure you keep your O-line. You got to make sure that you got enough bread to sign all these young guys here in a little. Granted, we're still like 3-4 years away, but like,
still.
You can't like plan year to year. You have to plan 2-3 years in advance. At least, in my opinion, that's what good GMs do.
Well, that's what I'm saying. So I mean, that's the reason why we didn't make any big offensive, we didn't make any big offseason moves last year because we were just stacking bread.
Yep. And that's why you got draft picks.
Yeah. So
it all comes around, man.
So like, I was just like, all right, but we could still probably pay him and not really ruin the bank, especially for when these guys start to become available to resign.
And once again, it also depends on how you build contracts.
Yeah.
So like, because I was just talking to my good buddy Steve, huge Dolphins fan, this morning, and we were talking about our roster and like what that's going to look like and what our future looks like, and he was like, dude, we got to offload some of these big names that aren't being used.
Yeah.
Like Byron Jones, like Cedric Wilson, like these guys who just didn't make an impact like we thought they were going to, and everybody keeps on saying, oh, you can't afford Lamar. Oh, you can't afford this. And I'm just like, well, one, like what a lot of people forgot is we have Emmanuel Ogbah, and he almost led the NFL in sacks a year ago. He got hurt preseason. He's been out all year. Now, we just signed him to a 4-year deal, dude, like 4 years, $65 million. But what did Chris Greer do? He gave a 1-year option. So we can cut him if we want. All that money's gone now. So, like, it's all about how you, because Chris Greer is good at backloading contracts. He's like, if you're with us in the long haul, you're going to get paid. But if you don't pan out, dude, and he does all his contracts that way, except Tyreek. Some of these guys, you're getting paid. You're getting paid, but yeah.
Yeah, I look at it like, so anyways, going back to Jalen Ramsey, Ben did come back around saying, we do need veteran leadership, which I felt that with his response was, maybe not a terrible idea. Yeah. We do need veteran leadership. We could go draft a DB and maybe sign somebody in the offseason. I'm like, or somebody else in the offseason.
There's a lot of good free agents.
And it's like, oh, hey, I get the volatileness, but we need, and if you're concerned about volatileness, 2-year contract. Fuck it. You pay him heavy, 2 years. You're going to get 2 years out of production.
Yep.
Super Bowl, 2 years in a row.
Yep.
I'm joking. It's
fine.
I made a joke about, I was like, we signed him for a 4-year deal. I was just like, he gets 2 Super Bowls within that. I was just like, so, but there's just so much offseason stuff to ever worry about the draft. Only team that I can really think of that is going into this offseason and is already should be thinking about and should be, to me, an open and shut case is the Chicago Bears drafting that young man out of Alabama, running back.
I don't even. You're probably thinking of Bijan Robinson from Texas.
No, I was thinking of the kid from Alabama.
Okay, Bijan's clear-cut #1 running back this year. Yeah. Just a heads up. Like, it's not even in question. They're saying he's the next generational great. He's a big deal, dude.
Oh.
Yeah, he's a real big deal.
We will see. But anyways, running back, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, and then they're always talking about them trading. I'm like, I was like, if I'm the Chicago Bears, the only thing I'm going to ever get rid of that #1 draft pick for is if you're giving me an entire starting offensive line.
Yeah.
You have to give me 5 starting offensive linemen that are good for me to give you that #1 draft pick. So, I don't know. Lions are at home. Let's take a quick break and break into some playoffs. Sound good?
I like it.
All right. Back from break.
How many knocks before we're actually live on mic? 4?
Typically 3.
3? Okay,
something like that. I always wait till it gets to the end.
Yeah. Well, Even though we could talk football literally for days, we got to keep it moving. I want to quickly...
We're still talking football.
We are quickly talking football, but, I mean, we could really go.
Right.
So, I want to quickly recap our Week 18 pick'ems. We're obviously into postseason with the NFL now, but just to kind of finish that off. So, Week 18, we had Bucks at Falcons. CB and I both got the L for the Bucks on that one. Patriots at Bills, both got a win with the Bills. Vikings at Bears. Both got a dub for the Vikings. Both got a dub for the Bengals against the Ravens. Both got a dub for them Lions against the Packers, which we've already talked about. Go Lions, go. I took the L. Colts lost to the Texans. Texans had that miraculous Hail Mary and scored last second, which got Lovie Smith fired.
Lovie, I trust.
Yeah, right. So CB got the dub for the Texans pick there. We both went Jags against the Titans, even though CB thought I was going Tennessee, and the Jags did get the win and clinched a playoff spot and won the AFC South. Holy shit. Jets at Dolphins. Jets. Suck.
Hey,
CB took the L for the Jets.
Because I did not believe in Skyler.
I tell you what, though, like, not to get too in-depth on that game.
There's not much to get in depth.
Skyler still...
The MVP trophy goes to your kicker.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we get into the playoffs. But Dolphins did get the dub, so I took the dub on that one. Panthers at Saints. We both took an L for the Saints. Giants at Eagles. Both got a dub for the Eagles. Browns at Steelers. We both got a dub for the Steelers there. Cowboys at Commanders. Cowboys did drop that one to Washington, so we both took an L. Chargers at Broncos. Both took an L for the Chargers losing to Russ. Russ was cooking, baby. 4-win season for the Denver Broncos. Chiefs at Raiders. Both got the dub there with the Chiefs. Rams at Seahawks. Seahawks took care of business, so I got a dub. CB took an L on that one with the Rams. Unfortunately, they did not help your Lions.
I only went with the Rams because I was really...
I know. And then Cardinals at Niners. We both finished with the dub for the Niners. I finished 11-5 that week. CB went 10-6. So nothing to really talk about. It was kind of over after their week 17 for Pick'em or 16, but I did end up edging out CB this year, 8-5-5 record to his 5-8-5. But only 10 wins behind overall, to be quite honest, dude. That's a couple upsets here or there that we either got right or got wrong. So I thought it was extremely competitive. Next year we're going to get this tiebreaker going, and that you could have wiped the floor with me with 5 tiebreaker wins on our ties. So not much to really talk about or brag about here, but this is always super fun to do. I love doing pick'ems. You and I put bets in every week anyway, so why not just talk about it on the mic? So this is pretty cool to go through. So yeah, that's how our pick'ems ended. I'm looking forward to 2023. But let's go into the NFL playoff picture right now, dude. So we did have our teams finalized. In the AFC, the Chiefs still at that number 1 spot, winning the conference. Excuse me. You had the Bills at 2, Bengals at 3, Jags winning the AFC South at 4, Chargers at 5 in the wild card.
Go
Ravens.
back to them Chargers. Them Jaguars. I told you they was nice.
Bro. Chargers at 5, Ravens at 6, and Dolphins edging out, getting that 7th playoff spot. And in the NFC, you had the Eagles. Them Eagles were looking real nice all year. They did end up clinching the conference and winning that out. Then you had the Niners at 2, Vikings at 3, Bucks at 4, all your divisional winners there. And then your wild card spots, you got Cowboys at 5, Giants at 6, Seahawks rounding it off at 7.
Oh.
First off,
that Seahawks-Rams game last week is now like being spoken as the worst officiated game of the whole season. Yeah. And I sat there and like, apparently you can't be pushed into the kicker from the punter, excuse me. And also, if you're on the sideline and a running back's coming in at you, and you're standing out, you're clearly outside the lines, and they're running, and the quarterback's running at you, you just got to get ran over. You can't brace for a hit because that's unsportsmanlike contact.
Yeah,
that's what happened to Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, that was wild.
I'm a little fucking flabbergasted. I mean, yes, I'm mad about it because it kept my fucking lines out, but like, that's amazing. Like, he didn't do anything other than take the hit. When you take a hit, you do give a little bit of pushback because, like, if you don't, you're gonna get hurt or you take a better chance of hurting the other guy. He didn't truck stick him.
Yeah.
All right, go on.
You good? You good, buddy?
No, I'm not in the playoffs. I should have been playing today. Or yesterday. Excuse me.
Yeah. So,
and we could have beat the fucking Niners.
Okay, moving on. Here we go. Oh, you really think you would have beat the Niners?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we're way better than the fucking Seahawks.
No, I didn't say you weren't.
I mean, I get it. They beat us this year.
I was just, Super Bowl contenders, just making sure that you were ready to say you were the best team in the NFC.
I'm ready to say that we're the best team in the NFC.
Okay.
Well, second best, the Eagles. The Eagles were no joke this year.
I think the Niners are better than the Eagles.
I do not.
I do. Well, when the Eagles lose, then you can come knocking to me and be like, holy shit, Clay, you were right again.
Well, when are they going to play each other?
They would play each other in the conference championship.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the bracket, but I mean.
Yeah, so getting into the bracket, actually, which I'm now realizing, I hope this has the bracket. This is just the pick. No bracket, huh? All right, I thought NFL.com would have had the bracket, but let me go to Google. Maybe Google will give me the actual bracket. There we go. Thank you, Google. So last night, let's go into last night's games real quick. First off, you had San Francisco 49ers going against the Seattle Seahawks in San Francisco. Started off actually pretty competitive. Did you get a chance to?
Downpour.
So you didn't really watch too much of this game. You watched the second game, correct?
No, I watched more of this game.
Did you? Okay, perfect. I was the other way around because once the game got out of hand, I stopped watching. So I thought it was pretty competitive at first, dude. Niners were scoring tutties. Geno Smith was playing a really good game. I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, 17-16 at halftime.
That sounds about
pretty
right.
close.
It was really, really close.
It was a one-score game at halftime. Yeah. And the Seahawks were pretty pumped going in the locker room. Like, there was a meme of them saying Seattle Seahawks with the best, they're the NFL playoff first half champions so far this year. Because they were playing a hell of a game. And then in the second half, dude, Big Cock Brock started slinging that rock, man. 360 yards or something like that in the air, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. I mean, Brock Purdy's the real deal. I know we mentioned it earlier, but now that we're actually in the game, dude, and yes, it was against Seattle. I get it, but we can't continue to discredit performances.
It was against a playoff team,
and that's my point. We can't continue to discredit players because of their opponent, because it all depends on how they performed against that opponent in retrospect to other teams doing that.
Another reason why you should give them credit is the fact that the first playoff game ever, right? Mm-hmm. And
first season ever.
Well, I know. Well, this is what I'm getting at, right?
To even take it up a notch
is the fact that his first playoff game ever, and this is a win or go home once you hit the playoffs.
Yeah.
If he was going to lose, he would have lost in the regular season. Mm-hmm. What he hasn't done, Clay.
He 10-0 in the regular season. CB.
So I'm just saying, and I'm a sucker for a story, and this story is a pretty cool one, and I would be really happy if they did go and win the whole fucking thing, just because then I'm like, Tom Brady who?
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, no shit.
But I also like Tom Brady. Mm-hmm. But I mean, I just like to see that, possible greatness take
it. Dude. And the Niners are looking good. Christian McCaffrey, since he came over to San Francisco,
those Niners have been on the ropes all year with they have all these reasons of why they should not be here.
Yep.
They're 2 starting quarterbacks that you're at the beginning of the season, you're like, you could start either one and you're going to be good, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, you had Garoppolo who led them into the playoffs last year, and he got benched for Trey Lance. Trey Lance gets injured. Garoppolo comes back, and they continue to win. He gets injured. Then Big Cock Brock shows up.
Yeah, what a nickname! I love it.
And he out here slanging it.
Yeah.
His dad must have been a plumber.
Yeah, I did have San Francisco in this matchup.
I did too.
Yep,
I did too.
So
even though it hurt me to go against our guy K9.
Yeah, I thought the same thing, man. I mean, once it came playoff time, I'm making right decisions, not who I want. I think weekly pick'ems, it's fun to root for because we're just trying to, who can come up with the best record.
Yeah,
playoffs, I try and be a little more realistic. Even to be honest, even in my betting, I did not have Miami winning. I took the spread, but that's because to see if they can cover the spread.
Right.
As much as I'd like to see it, man, you already know I'm diehard rooting for him today. I mean, there is, am I concerned with Skyler? Yeah. But, like I told you, I've been negative all week about, damn, dude, like, this is such a mismatch. And then as soon as Sunday came, Skylar Thompson, Super Bowl MVP, baby, here we go.
Oh.
So, but we had another huge game last night. Chargers, Jacksonville, in Jacksonville, since they are divisional winners, in Duval. And, dude, what a football game.
That was really good.
Jaguars down 27-0 going into halftime.
4 picks in the first half, was it?
4 picks Lawrence had.
I put up number 3. But
yeah, you did.
4. I said
4 picks in the first half. The Jaguars looked flat. They looked like they could not compete with the Chargers. And then that second half, boy.
There's no quitting that team.
The Jags come back from a 27-0 deficit, third biggest deficit comeback in NFL playoff history, and they end up winning that game by 1. I can't remember the final, but
it was 31-30.
31-30, thank you. So
field goal.
They gave up a field goal in the second half. Trevor Lawrence bounces back 4 tutties in the second half.
Travis Etienne had huge runs.
Huge runs. The play calling from Doug Peterson, I think he does the play calling, could be wrong. The play calling in the second half for Jacksonville was smart. It was you could just tell that they made so many adjustments.
I know that in a lot of interviews after the game, a lot of the guys were giving a lot of credit to Trevor Lawrence as far as he was just like he was never panicked, but he did give us urgency.
Yep.
And he's like, and we all got off of that. They realized what they had to do. So defense stepped up, got the ball back for him to get those opportunities to put the ball into the end zone additional 4 times. So.
Yeah, dude, it was well done. I mean, even the hot route he called. I think it was like 23 was the number that was said for whatever coding that is for their audibles. And, he calls 23 and they run a hot route and fucking right over the top, dude. Touchdown right in the breadbasket, like a freaking 50-yard bomb or something like that. And it just goes to show how laser focused Trevor Lawrence was, even in the face of adversity, to see the weaknesses in the defense, know what he's looking for. I know Doug Peterson, they mentioned on the broadcast, Doug Peterson's given Trevor Lawrence a green light that when he sees things, he can go ahead and switch out of it, call audibles or hot routes and make adjustments if he finds he's going to get success.
Plus, Trevor Lawrence doesn't lose on Saturdays.
Yeah, dude, that Instagram thing I found was wild, or maybe someone else shared it. I don't remember, but that was wild.
Yeah. I think that a lot of people didn't give Trevor Lawrence credit for from last season coming into this season was the complete fucking utter chaos that was going down in Jacksonville last year. First it starts out with the fact that Travis Etienne's not playing the entire season.
Yep.
That's huge. And then, you got a fucking shit show of a coach that starts there and really fucks up the whole program. So, I like to see where they're at. I'm happy it's new. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's been since MJD was there and Byron Leftwich, since they've actually been a respectable team. Sorry to disregard all the players that played throughout those other years, but we got to be real serious here. Those are the last 2 guys that really had this team at a high caliber of football. So really excited to see that they pulled that off. I did have them picked to win. So my parlay's still live.
I did pick the Chargers to cover the spread, which was just 2.5. But when I was talking to my buddy, I even told him, I was like, man, the last 2 games that I picked were the Jacksonville Chargers game and the Dolphins-Bills game.
Yeah.
Dolphins-Bills was hard for me just because I'm like, God, I just hate betting against my Dolphins. But the Jacksonville Chargers, because I was like, dude, the Jags are hot. They are rolling right now. And I was like, I can see them winning this football game. And I was like, but I was just thinking, them having home field advantage is a huge benefit. But I was like, I think the Chargers, because they got back some of their defensive pieces, having Derwin James back there, scouting out passes coming from Trevor. 4 picks. Not all Derwin James, but one of their guys, I'm blanking on his name right now, so I apologize. 3 picks. He had 3 picks in that first half.
Yeah.
That's nuts. So, The defense was there at first. It's just the Chargers didn't. They started making bad decisions. I mean, look at Joey Bosa, dude. All of the terrible penalties he took late in the game. Yeah. Ultimately, that last penalty he took, he might have lost the game for his team.
Oh, that's the reason why he slammed his helmet down.
I'm not a guy that says this play is what lost it for him. But in that moment, that was huge. Kind of like when Trayvon Walker took that roughing the passer call. And I'm like, you might have just lost this game for your team because of a bonehead decision. But long story short, Jacksonville comes through. Great game to watch. I'm glad I watched it. So kudos to them. So going into today's games, first off at 1 p.m. we got Dolphins-Bills. Sucks Tua's not playing. He did get ruled out a couple days ago by McDaniel with his concussion. And so Skylar Thompson is going to be our rookie quarterback, is going to be the one taking snaps against Josh Allen in Buffalo in the playoffs.
And Hamlin just showed up to the facility yesterday. Sorry, you stand no chance.
Right. We do stand a chance. There's always a chance. If you think your Lions can win the NFC next year and go to a Super Bowl,
that's a realistic
the Dolphins. Anyway, the Dolphins.
There's a difference. There's a realistic chance, and then there's what you're going against.
So, man, you really think going to San Francisco on the road in the playoffs was a cakewalk, huh? Like that's just what I'm trying to put in perspective.
I'm talking about Miami, Buffalo.
No. I know, but I'm putting in perspective where your Lions would have been. It's just, if you can sit there and say, hey, I'm clearly more confident in my Homer Lions, then that would be totally cool. But like, all I'm saying is in perspective, going off the numbers of where we're at, I still think the Dolphins stand a chance. I really do, but it is minimal.
I'm not trying to be rude. I'm looking at it. I'm looking at it like this. I'm like, you want to compare it to me that's not even in the playoffs, which isn't a fair comparison because we're not there. My hypothetical is, yes, we could have beaten that team. Yes, whatever.
Yeah.
You're actually playing this game.
Right, which means...
This is a real thing. What I said about the Lions in San Francisco is not a real thing because it didn't happen. I'm looking at today, right now.
So you're really
I believe that much in Tua not being there.
Right.
Yes, Who'd you play last week?
New York. Jets.
New York Giants. All right. Jets. Excuse me. Yeah. Who is a far superior... Buffalo Bills is a far superior team than what the Jets are, and you guys couldn't beat them by just touchdowns alone. Yes, that's what I'm looking at.
I agree in the overall, and I'm going to use this argument, which my buddy used yesterday, which I argued, so I'm being a huge piece of shit right now to prove a point. His argument was the Jets actually have statistically, far superior defense in Buffalo, believe it or not. Buffalo finished middle tier this year in the NFL in defensive efficiency. New York was top 5. So his argument was you just went up against a harder defense and ended up prevailing. And I was like, Jets are not as good as the Bills. Stop arguing, which is funny because I know I'm flip-flopping it. So when I say we stand a chance, our defense has proved, because we beat the Bills. And yes, Tua was there. Let me finish, Skip. No, I'm kidding. We've beat the Bills already. And how did we beat the Bills? Defense. When we beat them in Miami, we did not play good offensively. What we did is we forced 3 turnovers from Josh Allen, both by forcing fumbles and by interceptions.
Was that early in the season?
That was like week 1.
Yeah.
Or no, week 2.
Okay.
No, week 3, sorry. Because we went Patriots, Ravens, Bills.
Because you guys are cheaters and you put them on the hot sideline.
No, that's right. You are a Lion, so you're full of excuses. You know what? Jalen Ramsey's perfect for you guys. You guys are all excuses. But no, long story short.
Good luck.
Hey, I said let me finish. So long story short, we have already beaten Buffalo this year. Then we went to Buffalo, yes, with Tua, let me finish, and we only lost to them by 2 points in the cold, on the road, when everyone counted us out. And once again, that was actually led by our defense stopping Josh Allen. What kept us that close on the road was Tua being able to make plays, but that was not Tua's best game that season. So what I'm getting at is, if the defense can step up and play better than they have all season, we stand a chance. Where I still think we fall short is now because of our offensive inefficiencies. If we play like we did against the Jets, our defense is going to be on the field so much, they're going to be fucking drained, dude.
Yeah.
And that is where my concern comes into play. We've proven that with our crew, we can stop Josh Allen. What we don't have is the offensive firepower with Skyler in there to be able to overcome and be able to put points on the board to keep us competitive. So that's where my concern is. There is always a chance, dude. You never know, but our chances are very low. That's why I picked Miami on the spread to cover 13.5, hoping we can keep it a low-scoring, close game. But it's definitely a battle, dude. It's definitely a battle. One thing, do we need to...
We need to move on.
Okay. Yeah,
I mean,
I think we talked too much about your Lions and not important playoff teams is where we fucked up, but... That's okay.
Well, that was a whole completely different segment.
Yeah, I know.
You decided we spoke way more about these other games that...
Well, because these are all important games.
I tell you what we could do is move to the next one, and we can go back to...
Vikings play the Giants, Bengals play the Ravens. What I was going to say back to the Dolphins.
No, because we're still going to need to stop. We give your Dolphins a whole segment at the end and end the podcast there.
I don't care. We can keep moving on.
So
I'm just going to say it, and we're not going to talk about it. If the Dolphins manage to win, there is a potential rumor that Tua comes back this playoffs to play football. He was confirmed this morning to be our quarterback next year.
Sweet.
Confirmed. And I'm going to leave it at that because that's all hypothetical, but that's where we'll leave that.
My belief in Miami goes behind Tua.
And I don't blame you there because that's proven this year.
So
100%, dude. We've won one game without him. It was a clutch one, but we've only won one without him. So yes, that is probably, in my opinion, out of this entire playoff, that is the biggest lopsided battle, even right. San Francisco, Seattle.
So,
Cincinnati, Baltimore, divisional rival, playoff game. I truly think the Bengals are going to wash the Ravens.
No
Lamar. And I know the Ravens have found ways to win games. Not against the Bengals in the postseason, in my opinion.
Why all these young quarterbacks got penises for names? You got Big Dick Joe, Big Cock Brock.
Yeah, right. What's Huntley's?
I don't know.
Or is it just those two? Okay. But yeah, nonetheless, I think the Bengals are going to wash right there, and I think it sounds like you're in agreement.
100%.
And then we got Minnesota, New York. Right now, the Giants are the favorites.
I did pick...
Well, that right there just showed Minnesota as the favorites.
I picked Minnesota.
So these are conflicting. Yeah, I think I also had Minnesota, but I do think that this is probably the closest to a coin flip game in the postseason, actually. This one and Tampa, Dallas.
I think that I would definitely say Tampa, Dallas. I think maybe I got too much respect for Justin Jefferson, but I think that he outperforms everything. So
I don't disagree with that.
I don't think that this is as close as what.
I think it's because people are saying the Vikings, out of all these teams, they are the most overrated playoff team in the postseason this year. That is the word, because a lot of their wins have come within single digits off weaker teams. So people are saying the Vikings have skipped by. I'm the kind of guy to say the numbers don't lie. Win's a win.
Yeah.
Justin Jefferson's still eating. Dalvin Cook's still eating. Defense is still causing turnovers. They had at one point they had the most turnovers at home.
Oh.
So it's just one of those they've done what they need to do. So I think it's just you're always going to find a good team to hate on, and I think that's just where the Vikings are.
Yeah.
Next year will solidify if they're actually legit or not. But I agree with you. I think there's a lot of star power. The Giants have also had really good history of being underdogs and winning
this whole
winning games.
Has been crazy for the Giants.
But that's why, in my opinion, I say 50-50 coin flip. I think the Vikings get by in the first round. I think they make it to the next one. And then Monday night, you got Tampa Bay and Dallas. Everyone's ruling Tampa Bay out, in my opinion, and you never rule out TB12 in a playoff.
Although my bet is Dallas, and I was in this conversation, I was like, I'm not going to be mad. I'll be mad if I've got all the fucking playoffs right and he ruins my fucking bet. But I was just like, at the end of the day, I'm like, I'm not going to be mad that Tom Brady continues to defy the laws of, of football.
I'm coming back to right now, even though Dallas is a good team. I think Dallas's defense is phenomenal, of course. The big talk is going to be the Tampa offense against the Dallas defense. Yeah. Tampa is one of those teams right now, they got hot at the right time, man. Mike Evans' performance week 18 was bonkers, and if they can carry that into the postseason, now granted Dallas is a completely different team, but you just don't rule out TB12 automatically.
That was week 7.
They got a lot of guys who have been to the postseason and a lot of guys who have won Super Bowls. They know what it takes, and Dallas isn't there. Dallas is talented as shit, though, and that's why I don't want to pick one or the other. I think this is a coin flip. I really do. I picked Tampa to cover as my bet because I do think they have a very good shot at winning this football game, and if they don't, I don't see Dallas blowing them out, dude. It very well could happen. Tony Pollard could go off. You know, like CeeDee Lamb may have the best game of his career. It very well could happen, but I don't think Dak has the ability to take care of a football well enough. And I think Tom Brady, all you need to do is give him just time on the clock. I don't even have to say it's got to be a minute. You just give him time on the clock, and that man finds a way. I see this being a close game, and as much as I fucking hate Tom Brady, I respect the shit out of that man. He's done it too many times to be doubted. So
I'm with you on that. Good luck today. I know I should. I knew I should on your Dolphins.
No. That's honest content, and that's what we provide.
But and I hope for you do win. But I mean, like, I don't see it.
Okay, you could have just left it on a high note. That was your opportunity to leave it on a high note, and you just fucking you picked me up and said, "I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry." Still suck though.
Oh, good luck today, man.
Thank you.
I got nothing else. I think it's time to get ready for some football. It's gonna be a fun day.
Yep.
You got anything else?
No, we got to keep the pod under 2 hours.
There we go.
So,
all right, we're out. Peace.
Take care.